Testing one, two. Hello and welcome again to Charles Kelly Money Tips. I'm wearing my mask today, not because I've got coronavirus, but I've actually got a cold. But anyway, I'll take it off now. Believe it or not, these masks are selling out on Amazon. If you look up on Amazon now, you'll find that a lot of them are just selling out like crazy, and they haven't got them in stock anymore because so many people are going around with these masks. And you know, this virus is having an effect on the Chinese economy and the world in general. So although you know there's a relatively small amount of people have actually been infected so far, we don't know how many people have been affected worldwide. I mean, somebody was died with the virus in Manila a few days ago. Someone from Wuhan in China had gone to Manila, and you know, imagine in Manila just how many people did that person come in contact with on the plane going over there. You know, 300 people. You know, Manila airport is packed with people. Manila is one of the most crowded cities in the world. It beggars belief how many people that person has already come into contact with, and whether this virus has spread all over the place. Of course, there's conspiracy theories now that this virus was planted by, you know, the Americans or the CIA or the British in order to scupper the Chinese economy. But you know, how would you stop it going into your own country? I mean, there's people here now that have got the virus in the UK. There's people in America that have got the virus, in Europe, in other parts of Asia. So there you go. And talking of shortages, I've stocked up on my beans here because I know that now that we've had Brexit, I've been told there's going to be food shortages. So I thought I'd better get some beans in to see me through the winter, because you know, we've been told for a long time now that once Brexit happens, there's going to be queues at Dover, there's going to be food shortages, medicine shortages. So I've got my paracetamol, which is good for my cold. So and strange enough, there were some there today that they hadn't run out, and there were not people panic buying beans and bread and dry stuff to see them through the winter. In other words, what I'm saying in a facetious way is that, you know, the liberal elite has told everybody that it will be a disaster, that we're going off a cliff edge and all this sort of stuff, and it hasn't happened, has it? And you know, we're surviving. Life goes on. You know, if you're around London today, people are going about their work, they're going about their normal day, and they're looking forward to doing a deal with European partners and with other countries around the world. And Europe seemed to be saying, well, yeah, Barnier yesterday, we will give you a deal, we will give you a free of tariff deal, but we want this, that and the other. So hang on, you know, we were told this couldn't happen. You know, we were told that no, they're not going to give you a deal. But we know that in fact Britain buys more from Europe than it sells to Europe. So why would they not give us a deal? So there you go. We'll see what happens. And I think the people who've spoken out against what I would call the liberal elite, the metropolitan liberal elite, that kind of tell us what to do. They seem to love Europe, and I love Europe, but I don't like the European Union. And you know, we saw this in the last election when people overwhelmingly voted for Boris Johnson. You know, whether you like him or not, his election message was get Brexit done, and people even in Labour seats in the north of England and the northeast of England turned away from Labour and the metropolitan elite that, you know, was patronising them and telling them what to do. And now we still have potential leaders of the Labour Party saying that, you know, the people didn't really understand our message, almost saying, well, they must be stupid, they can't understand our message, and that, you know, if we get into power, we'll extend again free movement of labour and free movement around Europe, and that, you know, we may go back into Europe in a few years' time. Well, I think they haven't got the message yet. They don't get it. The people have spoken, and this is what people want. They want an independent country, perhaps just like the Scottish people want an independent country. And you've got to eventually listen to the people. So there you go. Now, I also noticed this week that Tesla shares have soared by 20% in one day on Monday. Now, this is on a good profit forecast. They made a profit in the last quarter after losing billions and billions for a long time and having to call in more money to keep the company going. And yet now, you know, they're in profit. They've got a factory open in China. and their shares are actually up by 85% on the year, and I think they've tripled in the last few months. So this is, you can literally make a lot of money on the stock market if you know which one to buy. But I'm not saying go out and buy Tesla shares, because I don't see how that run can continue. They've become more valuable now than Volkswagen. Now, how can that be? They're a relatively new company. They're not making a lot of money. They've expanded into China, yes, and they're making thousands of cars, and they're very popular and nice cars. People desire these cars, but does that make them more valuable than Volkswagen? Volkswagen, that I think they own Audi, they own the Skoda brand and other brands, and they've been around. Well, I think Hitler designed one of their cars, didn't he? He designed the old Beetle, but they've been around a long time. And they're a worldwide, very strong company. Now, if I was buying shares, I know which one I'd buy shares in. I'd go for the Volkswagen, although they have had their problems in the last few years with telling porkies about the porcupines, lies, rhyming slang, telling porkies about their emissions and all that sort of stuff. So we know that they've had their problems, but I still don't see how Tesla can be more valuable than companies like Volkswagen and Ford and that sort of thing. It's just nonsense. It's just crazy. So whilst I'm not your financial advisor, you need to take your own financial advice. I wouldn't personally go out and buy shares in Tesla at the moment, even though they're going up and up like crazy. Now, having said that, it coincides now with the UK announcing that it will ban all new petrol and diesel cars in 2035. Now, I heard 2035 sounds a long way away, but it's 15 years, isn't it? 15 years' time, they will ban the sale of new petrol and diesel cars. And what we're going to drive in electric, I suppose, unless you still have your old banger on the road, but that will probably be taxed out of existence. At the moment, my car, I can't even drive into London without paying about £25 in emissions and extra charges and that sort of thing. So I don't bother. But does that mean I should scrap my car now and get an electric vehicle for $25,000? No, I don't even want to drive a Prius or whatever, and I don't think I want to spend money, $80,000 on a Tesla. Sorry, Elon, but that's the way it is. But I don't know what that's going to do to the car industry, because the car industry is already suffering at the moment from a downturn in sales. Are they going to be able to turn things around that quickly in order to survive the next few years? Because let's face it, would you go out and spend a lot of money on a new car right now? I don't know, especially a diesel. I mean, diesel sales have fallen off a cliff, so I don't know what's going to happen. And yet, some diesels have lower emissions than some, models of Prius and that sort of thing. So I don't think, it's some of these diesel cars and petrol cars are very clean engine cars, but they've taken this decision. Everything's about saving the planet and that sort of thing at the moment, carbon emissions, which is not the whole story. What about all the forests that have been chopped down all over the world? What about the parts of the Amazon where they're chopping down thousands of acres every day in the Amazon? Surely that's the thing we should be looking at. And I never hear Brazil mentioned in these, or any of the Amazon countries, but Brazil is the biggest one, isn't it? I never hear them mentioned by Greta Thunberg or anybody like that. They always just talk about the West, don't they? Donald Trump and the West. They don't talk about China and the coal-powered electricity stations they're building, generation stations they're building. I don't hear about the biggest polluters in the world like China and India. I just hear about the West. It's just like an anti-West thing. But have you ever seen Brazil being sort of discussed at these things and how many trees they're chopping down? I don't hear it. Anyway, that's what's going to happen with cars. So whether you would go out and buy it, because you could expect a good car to last 10 years or more even. There's cars on the road that have been around for 20 years. And does it make sense to scrap them and put them in a hole in the ground just to buy a new vehicle? I don't know. I mean, the future is obviously going to be electric, but there are other alternatives. There's hydrogen-powered cars that are even cleaner. So let's see what happens anyway. Now, another bit of news: IKEA has closed its first UK store, and the retail sector is really kind of suffering, isn't it? And IKEA has gone from this. It's become the biggest retailer in the world. it's just expanded and expanded. But this store in Coventry, which was opened in 2007, has had to shut. They said it's just not worked out. It's not making money. One of the things people don't like is this. I can't stand IKEA. I never go there. I'm not going to go there because you have to go through this maze, don't you? You can't get out. It's like, how do you get out of this place? Like Hampton Court Maze. And then you have to queue up at the end for like half an hour to pay for stuff, and it's just a horrible experience. And then you have to put it all together. I mean, the three words, the two words I hate in the English language are self-assembly anyway. I don't like putting together stuff. I'd rather go and buy it self-assembled or even buy it down the second-hand shop. To something that's there, it's ready, and I can use, not go and buy stuff in flat packs. But a lot of stores have closed down. John Lewis, for the first time I can remember, said their staff bonus is going to be in doubt. They always make money after poor Christmas sales. Beale's falling into administration. We've seen House of Fraser. Debenhams going to trouble. Debenhams closing down a lot of stores. So the retail sector is going for a really bad run. And we don't know whether that will even recover, do we? Because people are now buying stuff on Amazon. Every time I step out my door, I see some van running around or banging on people's doors to deliver stuff, because people just don't seem to want to go down and buy stuff. Is it laziness? Is it just for more convenience? But they don't seem to want to go out and go down the shop and buy goods. Rather, they just want to sit at home and order stuff. And if we keep on doing that, we're just going to lose these stores, and we're going to lose the high street altogether. And that's going to be bad news for jobs, but bad news for the economy. And because how much tax does Amazon pay in this country? Bugger all, basically. When you think about it, compared to a store like Debenhams, which would pay council tax, it would pay there's staff everywhere, there's security staff, there's cleaning staff. They're making profits. They're putting money back into the economy. A good Debenhams store in the area will attract other stores and make it the go-to place for shoppers. What does Amazon do? They have a place at the garage with a few boxes where you can go and collect your stuff, and maybe have a warehouse in Milton Keynes or something. But that's it, isn't it? So Amazon, Google, and all these companies are not paying tax really in this country. So I think we should support our local stores and the big stores and the West End and the retail places, because it's a good fun day out to go shopping, and you can mix with people, and you can interact with people. You can't do that sitting there online like, I'm going to order from Amazon, because I can save 10 pence. My advice is let's keep our stores going, so that we can have a better economy and a better high street, and I think a better way of living than ordering everything online. So there you go. So that's my rant about Amazon again. Pay some tax, Amazon. We need some of this tax. I think Britain is trying to impose a tax on these online giants from America that somehow managed to show a loss in the UK, even though they're making a profit in the UK, because they send their profits back to Dublin or Luxembourg, which are part of the EU, by the way. So it's a tax fiddle if ever I've heard it. Starbucks were the same. So they're trying to impose, I think it's only a 3% levy, and Donald Trump is saying, you can't do that. You better not do that, because you won't get a trade deal and this sort of stuff. But I think hopefully Boris is giving him the two fingers or the one finger and saying, no, we're going to do that, because you can't just come here and wreck our economy and wreck the high street, because let's face it, the Americans would not allow us to do that to them. They're protectionist, the Americans. It's not an open society. Let's open our borders and let everyone come in and take our business away. No, they don't like that. Look what Trump's doing with China in this trade war. So they would never allow a British or a foreign firm to go in there and wipe out their high streets and not pay any tax in the US. No way, Jose. So there you go. Thanks for listening, and have a great evening. This is Charles Kelly, bringing you money tips to help you save, earn, invest, accumulate, and enjoy more money. Hi there to people who tuned in: Shirley Lynn, James. Hi there, James. Bunty, Dave, Manny. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And do catch my podcast and blog at moneytipsdaily.com. Thanks for listening. Have a good evening.